Hi guys, good day everyone. I'm Casey, your course instructor for this course or this session entitled Time Management, your chill pill for time stealers. Alright, so with all the distractions we face today, managing your time can feel like an endless obstacle course. Actually, if you look at various sites out there, there are no shortage of advice, whether it be books, vlogs, life hacks, and tutorials. These are all created to boost time management. We have project creeps or sleeping deadlines and to-do lists that seems to be longer each day, right? So these experiences are all too common in both life personally and our lives at work, which only steals our precious time. So today, I'll have you swallow a chill pill to effectively manage your time and deal with the different time stealers. So for this session, I've prepared three topics. So it will cover first, time management defined. What really is time management and how does it affect our daily lives, both personally and at work? Second would be introducing you with the time stealers. And I'll tell you how to deal with them. If we cannot eliminate those time stealers, how can we at least reduce them? And the last topic would be a knowledge check just to gauge if you learned a thing or two from the course, from this session, from all the slides that I'll be sharing with you today. So let's define what is time management. So according to different websites, I just summarized them. Time management is the process of planning and exercising conscious control of time spent on specific activities. I've highlighted the word control of time spent because simply time management is knowing how long have I done something? Is that something worthwhile? Am I using my time effectively and productively? So that is time management. It's controlling, tracking, and monitoring how much of your time is spent on value adding activities, on activities that make you more productive, or on activities that have you or let you achieve your goals. All right? So that's time management. Now, let me introduce you to our five time stealers. These are the culprit, these are the criminals, these are the suspects on why we waste time. We tend to not optimize how we use our time. So the first one is or are the interruptors or causes interruptions. The second are the meetings. The third are the repeaters. The fourth one being the work environment. And the number five, the dreadful emails. So let's discuss them individually to understand more and dig deeper on what really are these time stealers. And do we have any remedy to solve them? If not eliminate, to reduce these time stealers? Starting off with our time stealer number one, the interrupters. This can be a one-time only deal, or this can be a habitual action that lets us stop or take a pause or halt from doing what we are intended to do. So time wasted on interruptions add up. So that's bad because your time lost for interruptions may have been time spent doing value adding activities. So what are these interrupters? So interrupters can be your food or trinkets that you fidget about on top of your workstation. You maybe you want to take a bite out of your burger or your pizza beside you, or snacks or chips or French fries. It can be your cell phone or mobile phones, um, checking out on the text messages, or if you have mobile games there, maybe while doing your report, you stop for a moment and then check your games, or deliveries and calls, that while you're on a meeting or you're doing your presentation, someone calls, oh, you have a delivery, whether that can be an online shopping site, or food deliveries, or calls from downstairs. It can be people from your work if you're in the office, or your homebodies if you're working from home, along with your neighbors with their babies and your pets. Can be a cat or a barking dog, or whatever animal you keep which makes noise and interrupts you. Those are the interrupters. Now, how are we going to deal with these interrupters? So first, we can either make changes in your environment to reduce interruptions. So if you're working in the kitchen, if you're work from home, if you're working in the kitchen and it's time for the meal and you're always interrupted, then go to your bedroom to have a separate workstation there for you to do the work. Or if you are already in the bedroom and you have noises or interrupters outside your window, close that window and focus on your work. Face the wall. Okay? You need to reduce the interruptions by isolating yourself. So maybe if you're in an open office, you can go to a small meeting room or a small corner where you can easily focus on what you're doing. Make changes in your environment to reduce interruptions. The second thing would be to make your area a place uh, people want to relax is bad. So don't do that. Don't make your area a place people want to relax. Yung tipong if you have your office um, in the headquarters, if you have your own office, then don't put a chair beside your table, so when someone enters you can easily invite them to sit and for them to stay and you have to chat with them. So don't face the door when you have your workstation, because every time someone um, goes by that door or peeps on that door, you are automatically interrupted. Don't face the window, because whatever you see outside the window will be an interrupter. Okay? Don't have like your mobile phones beside you, or anything that makes people want to go to your office and interrupt you. And if you cannot really do that, like not making your place a place where people want to relax. So at least designate a time when they can interrupt you. So you can tell them, you can drop by my office by this time until this time. So you can effectively manage your time. You can focus first if you tell them, okay, come here by 2 to 3 p.m., between 2 to 3 p.m., then you would know that you will have to face them by that time, and you would have completed already what you have scheduled. Or even if you can do it, ask them to wait. So even if you have still time to accommodate your interrupters, ask them to wait. If it cannot wait, if it's really an urgent matter, then you can have it an open time. But discuss that you can only accommodate them for this amount of time. Okay. And also, um, as I've mentioned earlier, if you are not comfortable with your workstation right now, there really are interrupters, get your work done in another area, a more quiet one. Some people would have music on their table, or have their headset, so that whatever noise or interruptions they hear, they will, they will have to filter it through that music. So that's one thing that you can do as well. These are good things that you can practice. Time stealer number two, meetings. And I know everyone is guilty. Everyone who works right now have meetings in one way or another. You have to meet people, you have to talk to them, you have to converse with them. So that is our number two time stealer. So what are those meetings? What are the time stealers in terms of meetings? First are the latecomers, those participants, those attendees who doesn't come on time. The second are meetings that doesn't have agenda or list of after meeting deliverables. Those long meetings which leads to off-topic dialogues. And in the end, you just wasted your time because you did not come up or agree with anything. Too much meetings. If your office is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you have hourly meeting from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. Your 1 hour break time sometimes are also covered until 5 p.m. straight meetings. So those are time stealers. So how do we address those time stealers, those factors during the meeting? So the first thing to do is, especially for latecomers, is to start on time and don't wait for the late. If it's your boss, maybe ping them or call them or email them or chat them. Boss will be starting. Do we need to wait up? If they say so, then you can wait. If not, then proceed with your agenda. Okay? We should not punish those early birds who arrived on time, because they are expecting that since they arrive on time, you will finish the meeting on time. So let's respect their time as well. Okay. Now, second, for those um, time stealers which makes the meeting off topic and gets longer because of that. So let's start our meeting with clear agenda and finish time. So you have to list down the deliverables. These are the topics that we'll be discussing, and we should finish by this time. So if you started by 3 p.m. and that's a 1 hour meeting, then you should indicate that we will be finishing by 4 p.m. by hook or by crook. Now, if you want to confirm if your attendees are willing to extend, then you can ask them beforehand. Okay, we might extend by 10 to 15 minutes. Would that be okay to you? So that you won't be cut off when the time comes. It's already 4 p.m. We need to leave because we only accepted until 4 p.m. only. So information is highly advisable to be disseminated in terms of meeting extensions. Also, if topics are getting out of the agenda, then you can ask why that specific off topic should be discussed now instead of your main agenda for that meeting. Because sometimes, well, most often than not, um, meetings revolve around different topics instead of your agenda. So if you observe that those off topics are coming in during your meeting, then ask, do we need to really discuss this topic right now? Or we can park it for now and discuss it later, like that. Summarize all agreed action items versus assigned. So at the end of the meeting, you should always summarize what has been discussed. If there are action items that has been agreed upon, then there should be people assigned to do them or to perform those specific action items. So if you need to send it in the minutes of the meeting, then tell who should be performing that specific action and when should it be completed. And also, um, avoid going to a meeting. If it's possible, let's not attend too much meeting. So we should assess, do we really have to go? If you can't go, then at least can you request for meeting minutes? Or if you have regularly scheduled meetings, you can just go there occasionally. Are you attendees who needs to decide on the agenda or the deliverables, or are you just someone who needs to be informed of what has been discussed? So as much as possible, if meetings are scheduled but you are not the one who needs to be deciding or providing inputs with that meeting, maybe some meetings you are invited out of politeness. So assess, do you really have to go? And if you can't go, can you request for meeting minutes? So that's how you can deal with meetings so that you can effectively manage your time. Let's move forward with our time stealer number three. Ayan. Repeaters. It can be your repeated problems, repeated tasks, or repeated conversations. What are those repeaters? It can be a repeated problem like filing your documents, your papers, your books, or you have lost your phone numbers, or if there's something that needs to be repaired, like for example, frequently busted lights, or whatever those repeatable problems are. It can be your regular activities that you need to do on a daily basis, just like waking up, going to the bathroom, taking a bath, brushing your teeth, something like that. Converted to something work related, like checking your emails or having your morning meetings, like that. So those repeated tasks, um, repeated conversations. If you can't think of a conversation you recently have, and just recall, are there times that when you have this conversation, maybe with your family or friends, that the conversation tends to circle around, that um, there's a feeling of deja vu, like, I think we've already discussed this topic a couple of times earlier. Like, I've mentioned this before. Something like that. Those are some repeating conversations. So, how do we address, how do we solve those repeaters? Because repeaters also steal our time. When repeaters happen, it it's it's it eats our time spent for more value adding activities. Imagine just doing your regular activities for once a day, so that can be 7 times a week and 52 times or 365 times a year, right? So how can we reduce those repeaters? Did you know that 6 repeaters a week, diba, is equivalent to um 12 hours per week or 12 hours per month of activity? So that's something that you've already lost, and time lost cannot be brought again, right? It won't return. So let's value our time and check how to address these repeaters. So how to deal with them? First, we should define the root cause. What are those repeating activities or repeating problems that we currently have? And after identifying that, let's perform 5S. How can we sort and set in order those repeated activities so that it won't happen again? Or if ever it still happens, then at least it's already manageable. So let's have less time spent on task by standardizing. So if you have to schedule or send an email, maybe you can set up an expert system explaining how it's done, and you should document it. If you need to teach something, maybe record what you are teaching so that it can be played early on. If there are questions, then that's the time that you will have to answer live. Or if you have to reply to emails, then maybe you can have a template for your responses, and you can easily send it out. So that's one thing you can do to standardize. Check if you can automate it. If it can be automated, then do so instead of doing it manually or filling out forms manually, or checking your budget. Maybe put it in an Excel file with formula so you can easily input your data and will automatically be computed. Or instead, if we have those repeated tasks, can we just not do it? Is it possible for us to stop doing it? And then we can use questioning funnel in terms of conversation. So what you can do, the questioning funnel tells us first, when you are talking with someone, or catching up, like nowadays we're in the pandemic season, so we tend to not meet with people but instead converse with them via video call or video chat. Then just to stop talking about ourselves and listening what is the update on our friends' lives, then we can do this. First, ask a question, then they answer. You can make a simple comment and then ask another question. So, how can we do it? Like, for example, when we talk to someone, instead of saying, these are the things that I did, until you spent so much time just discussing about yourself and you don't really know if those other people cared about what you're talking, right? So instead of just talking about yourself, ask a question. So, um, I did shopping last Saturday. How about you? So when you ask the question to that people, of course, they will answer. And then, oh, really? So what are the things that you did there? Make a short comment and then ask another question. So by doing that questioning funnel, first you are reducing the time spent for talking about yourself, but learning more about the people you are talking to, right? So that's one thing that you can do to address repeated conversation. And for repeated problems and repeated tasks, you can do items 1 to 4. I mentioned earlier during our time stealer number 1, interrupters are also related to work environment. So let's dig deeper. Let's spread it out. What are those time stealers related to work environment? Of course, it starts with your messy desk and your unorganized filing system. It can be your tables and workstations, like when you go to your table, instead of just having your laptop, you have several things on top, like your food, your perfume, or your tissue, or um, different papers, or different trash, or books or references that you have. Those are time stealers related to work environment, because instead of having a clean and neat workspace where you can see anything that you are looking for, because your desk is messy, you will most likely spend more time searching for your items rather than doing what you are intended to do. an organized cabinet and drawers, same as I have mentioned earlier. Instead of just opening your cabinet doors and drawers, pulling your drawers and getting the things that you need, you won't be able to do that. You won't be able to do just two steps. Instead, you open the door, search, 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 and at the end, you are not able to see it. You are not able to see what you're looking for, right? So, those are time stealers. Your work layouts, as I have mentioned earlier, if you have an open office or you have a table, then instead of facing the door or facing the window, face the wall so that whenever you remove your eyes from the screen of your laptops or computers, then at least you won't be interrupted for longer period of time by looking at the window and seeing something outside, or looking at the door and seeing someone pass by. So check your work, those work layouts. How to deal with them? So tidy your desk, because messy desk equals stress. Rhyme, so rhyme. So apply compacting. So what's this compacting all about? So instead of buying too many stuffs but that you don't need, why not use what you already have before you purchase? So you don't have a messy working environment. So if you need just one keyboard, one laptop, one mouse pad, then just keep what you already have. Now, if it's not anymore functioning, then that's the time to buy. If you've already bought too much, then keep them in your drawers or cabinets. So keep what you only need on your table instead of keeping everything on top of it, right? You can also try reading Marie Kondo's book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. So, like, it's telling you how to be minimalist. So, just set a place where you need your items. So, whatever is necessary, that's the only items that you need to keep on top of your table, which you can easily grasp, you can easily get whenever you needed it. So try reading that. It might be a big help to you. And then you can use the Pomodoro technique. So sometimes our work environment are inside our bedrooms or a separate workstation, but still, if it's isolated or not, we tend to get, exhausted just by sitting there for 8 hours or just even 2 hours. So you can use Pomodoro technique to have 20 minutes only of focused work. And then after the 25 minutes, you can take a break of 5 minutes. Then do that for four uh, consecutive times. So after 2 hours, then you can now do your 30-minute break. So that is for you to not be too exhausted with what you're doing and to avoid fidgeting or creating interruptions at work. Because sometimes if you're already looking at your monitor for 2 to 3 hours, you tend to stop looking at it and doing something else, right? So this is one thing you can do to deal with an exhausting work environment. And of course, if you have the budget, then improve your workstation layout. Make it more conducive for work or for learning so that you won't have to spend more time being exhausted and wasting your precious time. Let's move forward with our time stealer number 5, your favorite, or the dreaded emails. So some people tend to have thousands of unread emails, right? Overloaded inbox from your emails, whether it be in Google, in Yahoo, or in Outlook, or whatever um, email sites your company have. So what are the time stealers related to emails? First is having old emails overlap your new emails. Second are having to resend your emails because some people are requesting you to resend them because they haven't seen it. Maybe it has been buried on the other emails as well. So you resend emails from previous emails which you did not receive any replies. Frequent pings from incoming emails. So if ever you receive 100 emails a day, imagine you have to open your email 100 times because of the pings, the notification dots that you have. And then, yeah, searching for important emails. So those are time stealers. And your to-do list piling up. You have your to-do list folder, that's good, but instead of getting things done and reducing those to-do lists, it gets bigger and bigger as time passes by. So those are time stealers. How do we address them? So we can deal with emails by emptying our inbox. What? I have to zero my inbox, my 1,000 emails. It's not really deleting everything, but you move your old emails in an old inbox folder. So you create a folder and name it as old inbox and schedule a time to sort that old inbox so you can easily manage it. So at least your original inbox has been emptied, and whenever new emails comes, then you can easily sort it out. So how to sort? Three. You do them, you bin them, or you move them to jobs to do list. So after emptying your inbox, you already have your old inbox folder. Whenever a new email comes, you read it. If you have to take action on it, then do them. If it's not important, then delete it. You put it in the bin. And if it is something that needs to be acted upon but takes longer to finish, then create a jobs to do list folder and put it there. Okay? You might ask, nah, so still we can't address the problem regarding the to do list folder because it will still pile up, pile up if you do that. At least you have your zero inbox and you won't have overlaps anymore. Third would be to optimize your subject line, footer, and signature. So if you have emails to be sent, um, think of a better subject line than adding important or adding urgent or adding meeting in your subject line. So be more precise on the content of the email as part of your subject line, because if there comes a time that you need to search for that specific email, then you can just type a word related to your subject and you can easily sort it out, right? So that goes with your footer. So if ever you send email, if people needs to reach out to you instead of just having email, if some things are urgent, then include in your footer or signature your maybe your email address or your mobile number for work if it's related to work, or for personal item if it's related to your personal messages. So optimize how you use them, because what information you share are valuable, especially if it's outgoing messages. Next, ayan, if it's possible, and I suggest you do that, you switch off your ping. So if you have your email, you can check the settings and turn off your notification dot. Because as I've mentioned earlier, imagine if you have 100 email a day and every time it pings, you have to check it, then that will be counterproductive on your part. Maybe you would be seen as, oh, he has a lot of things to do. That's why he can reply very fast. Or maybe someone would think that they're not doing their job very well. That's why they have a lot of time. So it is advisable, okay? It's advisable for you to switch off your ping and instead schedule how many times or how frequent will you check your email. So it's generally um, advisable that you check your emails 4 to 6 times a day only. So I've noted here the timing on when to do it. So morning, if it's your office work starts with 8 a.m., then do it, check it in the morning for 10 to 15 minutes. And then mid-morning, before lunch, after lunch, mid-afternoon, and end of day. So those are the best times to check your email instead of checking it from time to time because of the pings that you often receive. Well, most often than not, those pings may be related to your subscriptions from online shopping, from different websites, right? Or your Facebook notifications. So just switch it off and do this timing. And then, yeah, for your emails, as I've mentioned earlier, let's set up an expert system for you to easily copy paste and document your replies. So if your emails require certain responses for several similar emails, then just create a template, then copy paste. So it won't take time for you to respond to those emails. So it would be easier for you as well. Since we're already in the digital age, we have several available technologies we can use to effectively manage our time. So I've noted some technology must-haves that will help you effectively manage your time. So first thing, if you don't know this or you already have, then that's good. If you don't know, then I wish for you to install this one. So Evernote, it will help you jot down or list down all ideas that you have. If you have brainstorming sessions or if you have things you want to remember, then take it note there. It's readily available. It's free. In terms of security, it's password protected, so there's no big security issues related to that. And whatever operating system you have, whether it's in iOS or Android, then it's also available. It's available in your mobile phone and your laptop, so no worries on that. One problem is you always lose your files. So instead of listing it manually, back up everything. We have several things or several devices that we can use to back up our data, especially hard disk drives or solid state drives. We can also use memory sticks or memory cards. We can use our Google storage or cloud storage. So there's no other reason for you to lose every file that you have if you only back up everything. Learn Microsoft Excel. You don't have to be too expert on that. Like from a rate of 1 to 5, you don't have to be 5. At least become a 3 to 4. So these 5 basic features or functionalities of Excel are a big help for you to learn about. So first is the conditional formatting, the lookup tables, the autofilter, the if commands, and the pivot tables. You can check Google tutorials or YouTube videos to look at these ones. These are Excel must-haves or Excel knowledge must-haves for every individual who wants to analyze and gather data efficiently. It will also, especially for the pivot tables, it will help you generate inferences or conclusion based on your sorted data. So learn a thing or two about Microsoft Excel, especially these five items. And also try to speed up your typing by using or learning to use all your fingers when you type. So instead of using your mobile phones, then maybe you can use laptops when working. Use all your fingers. There are Bluetooth keyboards that can be bought in tech stores that can also be plugged with your phone. So instead of if you have big hands or too small hands and you're having difficulty typing, especially in terms of reports, then you can buy Bluetooth keyboard. Those can be really um, portable and can be brought anywhere, especially if you're traveling. Um, you can try exploring the dictate function. So instead of having to manually type your reports or presentations, you just say it verbally, diba? There's an audio function for you to dictate. It's available also on phones and laptops. So try doing it. Maximize that one to save time. And use autocorrect. So when I sometimes when I reply to texts and chats, so I use autocorrect. Like for example, if you just have to say acknowledging receipt of your message, just type AROYM. So those five letters only, and it's auto suggested or auto corrected in my messages, and no need to type everything else. So that saves me a lot of time. So try doing it. So you can immediately set it up in your phone or in your office settings. And as I always mention, if you have repeatable activities or tasks, then create a document template so it will be easier for you to input details and set it out. Aside from the five time stealers that I've shared with you, especially on ways on how to deal with them and how to address them, I've also prepared some tips and tricks on how we can reduce them. Because if we cannot totally eliminate these time stealers, here are some um, tips and tricks that will guide you through it to at least reduce and address them. Five. So first one is learning how to say no, try to negotiate, start delegating, design better systems, and be less fussy or quit being fussy or quit being too perfectionist. Learning how to say no. You see, in life, well, not just personally, but at work as well, we should learn how to handle uncomfortable situations or uncomfortable conversations. Like, for example, an unexpected ask and you want to say no, or you've already said yes, but now you realize you can't do it. Circumstances change and you can follow through. If there are things that was asked of you but you don't enjoy it, or it doesn't add value to what you wanted to do for that day, or if you ask yourself, if it was tomorrow, would I say yes to it? Then if your answer is no, then say no. But how are we going to say it politely in a more um, comfortable way without the other party getting mad or angry at you? Saying no and getting away with it. So let me give you an example of that. Here's a phrase. I understand that you already committed before, but I feel that I'm missing my deadlines due to this, and I would like to say no and decline your request. Is that okay? So with that saying, or with that phrase, we apply these four things. You show them that you understand the criticality or the importance of the favor they're asking of you. So it shows that you're empathic or empathetic with them. So it takes away their excuse of getting mad at you because you said yes beforehand. Like them saying, you're saying no now? Now that it's already the deadline? So just expressing that you understand your situation is a good gesture on your part. Then express how you feel, because when you said it, then they can't ignore your feelings, they can't debate on you how you feel, they can't argue with it. And of course, you should say the word no, okay, or decline, to make it clear to them that you are not proceeding with what you previously said or what they are asking of you, what favor they're asking of you. And of course, ask them if that's okay, because you should confirm if they are okay with the no. If you will look at this phrase, I understand that I already committed to you before. So you show that you're empathic, but I feel that I'm missing my deadlines due to this. So you show your feelings, and then I would like to say no and decline your request. So say no, and then ask them if it's okay. Of course, they won't say anything else. Now you're asking me if it's okay, like that. So because you've already explained the three items, okay? So that's how you can say no. Negotiating. So what is negotiating? It is done when you're asked to do something and you really can say no. Like for example, your boss tells you to do something. Well, you rarely negotiate, but if it's possible, then you can confirm the following items. First, you should ask how much time will you give to perform that specific task. Are you willing to take it um, 80% of your time or 20% of your time? And who will perform the specific task? How many times do you have to walk through them to the process? Like for example, if you want to onboard some people or discuss to them the instructions, will it be repeated for a couple of times, or will it just be a one-time deal? And of course, you have to identify where that activity will be performed, whether it's in a physical location or a digital location. And of course, you have to confirm, if I am going to do what you're asking of me, will you enable me? What are the resources that you will provide me to complete that specific task? So to prevent time stealers or to reduce time stealers, so negotiate before you say yes to something. Next, delegating. So delegating is assigning task to someone or to other people for them to perform it. You can identify tasks you can delegate, either some of those or all of it to somebody else. You can give them part of your job, can be a colleague, or give the task to the customer themselves, like what we do right now. It's due to the restrictions of going outside due to the pandemic lockdown. We do self-service activities. So instead of you doing the task or serving the customer themselves perform it on their own. You can also delegate to someone who can do it 80% as well as you can. So make sure that before you delegate, you select the people who will perform the job. Okay? And for that people to perform the job as well as you can, at least 80%. And of course, it's also important for you to design a better system. So if you can't do it, you can hire someone to sort it out. Or if there are better tools that can be used, then use them. And make sure that you get good at it so you won't have to rely on other people doing it for you. And as I always say, set up an expert system, a tutorial, a document, a template that explains you how a task is done. So if ever you delegate a task to someone else, then they can easily follow what you have set up. Or organize your task to make it quicker to do. You sort things out, you make it easier for you to follow it, and of course other people as well to follow it if in case you want to delegate. Now, in terms of managing your time, being a perfectionist is a crime. Ayan. So, to reduce your time stealers, we advise that you be less fussy. Meaning, don't be too meticulous or then don't spend too much time um, on details, on unnecessary details. So ask yourself, are you too fuzzy or are you too meticulous or too perfectionist? Then if so, you should reduce at least 20% of that fuzziness. Does being fussy about it really matter? So in creating your reports, presentations, or work-related matters, just check if I dig deeper into the details, if I become more specific or more meticulous, will it really matter? Will it add value to the output? Will it make my deliverable better? Then if yes, then okay, continue to do so. If not, then stop it. Okay? Make your report shorter. Do we really need two-pager report? What if we only need a half A4 size report? You should do a quick version. Do we really need 2 hours to create this breakdown of details for my report? Or can I just provide the minimum requirement or the minimum information that is required for me to finish on time? So those are the things that you need to assess. And of course, um, take half the time even though it won't be perfect. So most often than not, when organizations have or request you to make reports or presentations related to your work or addressing a specific problem or issue, then they need specific requirements. It can actually be um, written in a template, in official documentation. So taking half the time, even though it won't be perfect, is still okay because they wanted the minimum information that is required for your report. They don't need a very beautiful report. What they need is the content, unorganized content. So try to be not too perfectionist, be less fussy, and take note of the more important details which really matters aside from being too meticulous about minute details that are not actually value adding to what you're doing. I've shown you the definition of time management and how it impacts our lives, and have introduced to you what are those time stealers and how to deal with them. I've already also shared with you some tips and tricks and how to manage those time stealers. If we can not eliminate it, at least we can reduce it. through those tips and tricks. And now is the time for us to test your knowledge. So I'll just give you a few seconds. Can you enumerate the 5 time stealers that I've shared with you earlier? Okay. How about some tips and tricks that you should remember to reduce time stealers? Just a few words before we end. What I want you to remember is that you don't need more time. You just need to decide. You need to decide where to spend your time, how to spend it wisely and efficiently, and how to optimize your time to become more productive, not just about your life personally, but also your life at work. So, congratulations for completing this course. I hope you learned a thing or two, and see you in our next courses. Bye!